Germany's meat industry is caught up in scandals, and returns for farmers are shrinking. Is this the end of farming as we know it?
Should I ring the vet when a calf is born, or should I wait till tomorrow and let fate take its course?
Has the time come to stop putting profit before animal welfare?
It's a miracle that this cow is still alive. Given the milk she has produced and the way she's been kept, it's incredible that she still allows humans to touch her. Only cows are this good-natured. I don't think you could exploit any other animal to this extent.
In Germany, animal rights activists have begun teaming up with farmers.
We want a society in which animals are no longer used for our benefit. But we still have far to go, and it's not easy for farmers to switch.
The call came in around 9 a.m. A livestock dealer said there was a disabled cow and a small calf that won't put on weight. They were being sent to the slaughterhouse. Animal rights activists Julia Dünzel and Timo Geuss immediately set out to rescue them.
Hi, great you're here. I was a bit quicker.
Vet Nicole Chirza was already waiting for them.
Let's see what you found.
The cow has a disabled rear leg, and the calf didn't grow properly. It came here as the runt.
And they found each other.
Exactly. The little calf nuzzles at her teats, and the cow adopted it. She's going to be 5 in December.
Why wasn't she wanted?
Because of the leg.
Most likely, the cow injured herself in the shed. She can't be milked anymore. The calf is too weak for the meat industry. Neither are lucrative prospects, so they were selected to be culled.
The little one looks good, even though he's not growing normally. He's alert and active. It's nice to see.
Oh, good.
In the livestock industry, they're often finished by the time they are 5 or 6 and sent for slaughter. But a cow can actually live 20 years or more. Of course, it's one thing to have to produce and another to live in peace. She probably can't produce enough milk for her owner anymore, but option 2 shouldn't be a problem.
Originally destined for the slaughterhouse, cow and calf are now getting a new lease on life. They will be brought to a Lebenshof, a so-called farm of life. The farm in central Germany belongs to Matthias Obenhack. It's a family farm where everyone does their bit. The Obenhacks have always been open to new farming ideas, but none were profitable, including pig breeding. In Germany, after costs are deducted, a farmer earns €3 for a pig, not per kilo, per animal. The family didn't want to sell their farm. Instead, they made a radical change a few weeks ago. Animals here no longer have to produce eggs or milk, nor will they be slaughtered. Matthias and his father, Hans Martin, now run a farm of life, funded by donations.
It's difficult for us, for me, to get our heads around. But after long consideration, I think it's the only chance we still have.
It was born of necessity, from the desire to keep the farm, because organic grain prices have also just dropped again. This is just about the last option we have.
Yeah. It wasn't just his decision, let alone mine. It was a joint decision, and now we want to do it.
2 years ago, I didn't even know about farms of life, and that there were so many of them. I found out through evening classes, during my agricultural training. I then actively looked for an association to work with that would allow us to slowly develop. You need to completely change your mindset. That isn't always easy. Sometimes you slip back into old habits, but we don't have another option.
Around noon, the cow and the calf arrived. Timo and Julia were there to help too. 4 years ago, they founded an association called Initiative Lebenstiere, or the Animals for Life Initiative. The association is financed by donations and has saved many animals from the chopping block.
Come on, take it slowly.
The cow and the little calf are taking their first steps to freedom. They can stay on the Obenhacks farm until they die a natural death. Around 30 kilometers away is the old farmhouse that Julia Dünzel and Timo Geuss live and work in. Julia earns her living as a social worker. She works for the association on a voluntary basis, without getting paid. Most of the time, she takes care of the association's website, social media accounts, and emails. They get messages every day from people asking them to save an animal, a pig, a chicken, or a cow.
It's often very emotional. I have an example here, Sansa. She was in dairy production for almost 15 years. Then she stopped producing enough milk to be profitable. Maybe she couldn't have any more calves. If a cow can't bear calves, it can't keep producing milk. And so she was selected to be slaughtered. The cow had spent her entire life in human service, being milked. And then she was just going to be killed.
A few weeks ago, they managed to save Sansa the cow from that fate. Physiotherapist Julia Schröder regularly works for the association on a voluntary basis. Here, she wanted to take a closer look at Sansa. The cow now lives on one of the farms Julia and Timo's association partners with. Sansa had to bear 11 calves, so she would continuously provide milk for the farmers. Overall, she produced more than 100,000 liters of milk. That took its toll.
There are bony growths, but also water retention in the joint. I can touch it, so it doesn't seem to hurt. But there's arthritis too. Oh, that hurts.
Sebastian Diebel took over his grandparents' farm 3 years ago. Before long, he changed course and turned it into a farm of life. He's now taking care of 20 retired cows.
When she got here, her udder was so distended that it would sometimes drag on the ground when she was on the hill. Now it's shrunk back a bit. I think it's okay for her these days. I don't think it'll shrink much more.
No, but it's pretty good like that. It's mainly skin that she has to carry around with her.
When she was standing like that, her udder came to here. So when there was high grass, it would drag.
No wonder her back looks like that. There were hundreds of liters suspended from it. A back isn't made for that, nor are the legs meant to carry that much weight. The fact that an animal is suffering so much and still has to keep on producing. It's a miracle that this cow is still alive, given the milk she has produced and the way she's been kept. It's incredible that she still allows humans to touch her, that she lets me come this close, even though she doesn't know me, and lets herself be rounded up relatively easily now that she's free. That's what's so cruel. Only cows are this good-natured. I don't think you could exploit any other animal to this extent. Zanza is a reflection of how sick our economic system is, and of how that economic system treats living creatures just for the sake of mass production. Animals are legally classified as things. If you injure an animal, it's damage to property. That's just...
Zanza has been spared the slaughterhouse. For Julia Dünzel, that's just a start.
Every rescued animal becomes an ambassador for all the animals we couldn't save. They help make more people aware of this issue, which we're trying to gather support for. I'm very happy to do this. It's my passion, my purpose. It's a responsibility that I'm happy to take on.
Julia is far from alone. In late August, animal rights activists held a demonstration in Frankfurt against meat eating and animal husbandry. Julia and Timo saw it as a good opportunity to win new supporters. The demonstrators were angry, and not just about scandals in the meat industry. In Germany alone, some 346 million kilos of meat are thrown away every year. That's 200,000 cattle, plus 4 million pigs, plus 45 million chickens, slaughtered for nothing, year after year.
We do the PR work on Facebook and Instagram and support the Farms of Life farmers also emotionally.
We estimate that it costs around €120 a month in total to adopt a cow, to cover its living costs and allow us to put some money aside for vets' bills. That's what's still missing, but €5 a month is enough to join a program.
The end of the summer. This herd of cattle on Matthias Obenhack's fields is from earlier days. In theory, the animals are ready for slaughter. They would make top-quality organic beef. But the Obenhacks decided on a new approach, to become a farm of life. So what will they do with these cows? Sell them to the abattoir or let them live?
Have you gotten anywhere with the adoption schemes?
We'll try, but it's a lot of animals. 10?
As a farm of life, I can't send my own animals to the slaughterhouse. I'll give them to you for free. The main thing is that they can stay here.
That's really great that you would give the animals to the association for free. A butcher would pay a lot for them. It's really wonderful that you're prepared to forgo that money to keep the animals alive.
Let's head up and I'll finish the fence.
But without more sponsors for the herd, he will hardly be able to offset the losses. For him and his father, nothing is as it once was.
You need to change your mindset too. I can't just do this for the money. I have to also change how I see things. I don't need to suddenly become vegan, but you should think about certain things more often.
We all have to change our attitude, whether we want to or not, because things aren't right the way they are. That much is clear. But it's what we were taught. It's what we know. But what we know is not always right.
More than 600 people have signed up for the association's Adopt an Animal schemes. Enough to fund more than 140 animals on 7 farms of life on a long-term basis. Every day, the association's co-founders get emails asking them to rescue farm animals.
I've just checked our inbox.
They get far more requests than they have capacity for.
What are the requests?
There's a dairy cow people want to save. She hardly has the strength to walk to her feeding station. They're hoping the treatment will help. They'll be sad if she has to be slaughtered. It's always sad.
It is sad, but
the farms and our association can only survive if we are able to say no. That's often very difficult. You get people crying on the telephone because they are so sad that their favorite cow is going to be slaughtered. But you can't help every time. Only in a few cases.
it is very difficult, because you know that by saying no, unless they find another farm or place, you are basically condemning the animal to death. In that moment, you're deciding yes or no.
That's why our goal extends beyond rescue. We say something in the system has to change. Society has to change, so that at some point this is no longer needed because animals aren't being exploited or killed.
The next morning, Timo Geuss is on his way to Switzerland, to a farm of life half an hour's drive from Zurich. The farm is where Timo interned after finishing his agricultural science studies. It's run by one of the pioneers of the Farm of Life movement, farmer and philosopher Sarah Heiligtag. Timo will spend the next 2 weeks earning his keep by assisting her.
Timo kennt dich nicht mehr.
Ah, doch, natürlich. Ich kenne die. Ja. Haben wir schon einiges zusammen durch.
They have a lot to discuss. The first job takes them to the pigs field. 12 pigs live here. Each has its own story.
We have sown fresh seed here. Here you could sow fresh seed and close it off. And then they could graze there.
Ja.
Madame Michel was a breeding sow for 4 years. That means that she had to keep on producing young. 2 big litters of piglets a year that were then fattened up for slaughter. She lived cooped up so that she couldn't run around. When she came here, she had no muscles. She could hardly walk because she was never allowed to. She'd given up. She collapsed after she arrived. I actually thought she would die those very first hours. I sat with her for a long time and talked to her encouragingly because it has been proven that pigs can absorb positive energy. With this encouragement, she realized really quickly, compared to other pigs I've taken in, that life was good here. Even though she had suffered for 4 years, she opened her eyes and said, "Okay, I want to live now." That's my interpretation. The very next day, she began building up her muscles. She stood there with trembling legs, and each day she really went for it and learned to walk. It moved me to tears to see how her will to live had suddenly been reawakened, and how she said, "Hey, I don't want to miss out on this life." She really blossomed.
In normal times, up to 400 children a week visit the farm. They get to know the animals and learn new ways of thinking about the relationship between animals and humans.
Are there other things that are important? If we think about the pigs that you met today, how do they compare to dogs and cats? With each word, we can see whether it applies to pigs.
Pigs need a lot of affection and family. They're very sociable animals.
You can make a check wherever it applies. What else? What do we want in life? To be healthy. Ethical veganism was born out of concern for the world. When I speak to people, I notice something like an awakening. They ask, what are we doing? We're destroying ourselves. It starts with ecology and the climate. But it's also about what we are doing with all these creatures around us. Even though it isn't necessary, I feel there's a wake-up moment. People are realizing we have to change something. Otherwise it's over, and it will change us.
Part of this process of change is about finding alternatives to meat consumption. People in the region also visit the farm because of the organic produce grown here. This is the area of expertise of agricultural economist Timo Gois. Around a third of the Earth's land surface is arable land. 92% of this is used for grazing or growing animal fodder. Only 5% is used to grow plants for us to eat.
In theory, it should be self-evident. We manage to produce enough food for so many farm animals. There are far, far more of them than people. There are 60 billion farm animals kept on Earth, compared with 7 billion people. It's not hard to see that we wouldn't even need all of that land, where right now trees are being cut down, soils depleted, and people exploited. Theoretically, it could be used for all kinds of things. It could remain untouched forest, become a nature reserve, etc.
Every day on the farm, people meet for a communal lunch. Interns from across Europe come here, as well as local school kids, volunteers, and more farmers who want to find out more about a life without animal products.
Many have felt conflicted since they were young. In the dairy industry, you have to take a calf away from its mother so that humans get the milk. I meet farmers who tell me with tears rolling down their cheeks that they don't want to inflict this on the animals.
That was how Claudia and Beat Troxler felt. Theirs is the 43rd farm that Sarah Heiligtag has helped turn into a farm of life. A week ago, they were still milking 38 dairy cows. They were making a profit, but the young Swiss couple wanted out. They sold the milking parlor and are going to replace the milk tank with an oat milk machine, a new source of income. The cowshed next door is quiet now. The dairy cows are out on the pasture, together with their calves for the first time. It's only been a week since they were last milked. They haven't quite gotten used to their newfound freedom.
Before, when we would go out onto the meadow to them, it always involved some kind of change. Either we brought them to the drinking troughs or fetched them for milking or something. Now, when we're just coming to take a look, they expect something to happen, but nothing does. I liked milking. It's not that I didn't like it, but ultimately, when you think about what you are expecting from an animal, what you are demanding of them, it's not fair on the animal. A cow is in a continual state of stress. It's constantly being inseminated. It has to constantly produce milk, and as much as possible. We didn't feel we could justify that anymore.
It's amazing, it makes me feel so good. And above all, now they're a proper herd with mother and child. Usually we took away the calves after 3 weeks. Now the cow can really be a mother and live that role. And they're great mothers, even though they were bred as dairy cows. Like Gabi over there, our oldest dairy cow. She's 10 and has already had 7 calves. They were always taken away from her. That's the first one she's been allowed to keep. And she's doing it as if it were what she's always done. It's brilliant.
And it's not just the herd that will enjoy their new life. Beat and Claudia Toxler now also have more time for the other animals and for themselves. Autumn on the Obenhachs farm in central Germany. Their transition to a farm of life seems to have been successful. During the previous 6 months, they have not slaughtered any animals or sold their products for profit. Instead, they have welcomed more association animals who have been put out to pasture here until the end of their lives. The family has gained a new perspective.
We no longer need to decide who will be slaughtered and who is good for breeding, and our existential anxieties have diminished because we have a fixed monthly income from the association via the donations, and it's fun. We don't need to worry about our survival or about which animal we have to slaughter. Everything can stay as it is.
It looks different, doesn't it?
Yes. For one thing, our pigs weren't outside. They were in the pig pen.
Has something changed for you too?
You gain a different perspective on things. And it's fun. Or better said, it's fun again. You feel there's a purpose again. Even if at first it was difficult to understand. But you get there. Everything is working well. But this is also our last chance. If this doesn't work, we'll have to close up. Over and out. There are no other options. We can't go back. It simply isn't profitable. Pork, beef, milk, nothing works.